The Chantry teaches us that it is the hubris of men which brought the Darkspawn into our world. The mages had sought to usurp heaven, but instead they destroyed it. They were cast out, twisted and cursed by their own corruption. They returned as monsters, the first of the Darkspawn. They became a blight upon the lands, unstoppable and relentless. The Dwarven kingdoms were the first to fall, and from the deep roads, the Darkspawn drove at us again and again, until finally we neared annihilation. Until the Grey Wardens came. Men and women from every race, warriors and mages, barbarians and kings. The Grey Wardens sacrificed everything to stem the tide of darkness, and prevailed. It has been 4 centuries since that victory, and we have kept our vigil. We have watched and waited for the Darkspawn to return. But those who once called us heroes have forgotten. We are few now, and our warnings have been ignored for too long. May even be too late. For I have seen with my own eyes what lies on the horizon. Maker, help us all.
Greetings. have lost the spell!
How do you do?
Oh, that didn't work. I need some other attack.
Deep beneath the Frostback Mountains sits Orzammar, the larger of two known remaining dwarven cities in the world. Orzammar was once the seat of a major empire connected by tunnels called Deep Roads, which stretched thousands of miles. The city now stands alone, cut off from the rest of the dwarven ancestral lands by the Darkspawn incursion. Secure in Orzammar's impregnable construction, the dwarven noble houses continue their centuries-old power struggles. Assassination and blackmail are commonplace, but the appearance of honor is paramount. You are the second child of King Endrin of House Iduken, the 9th Iduken ruler elected by the Noble Assembly. You grew up in a world rife with political intrigue, and have struggled against brothers and cousins for honor and prestige. Today, a feast celebrates your first military commission, the opening move towards real power in the ever-changing game of dwarven politics.
Greetings, my lady. You are dressed and ready. Excellent. I couldn't find the armor's matching dagger, but I scrounged up a rather fancy longsword. Do you wish to wear your shield to the noble's feast? Why not? Get used to it. You'll be wearing that armor a great deal from now on. Although the idea of you charging naked into battle holds a certain appeal. I know. Lesser family and all that. Moving on to the business at hand. The king expects you to make an appearance at the feast, but there's no rush. The noble family heads will spend hours boring your father with petitions and petty grievances. The usual. This lord had my cousin killed, this lord seduced my wife, this lord did the exact thing I'd planned to do to him, but he did it first. They pose and bluster, and each pretends he is the honorable man in a den of thieves and assassins. Bah. The rest is worth seeing, though. As part of the celebrations, permits have been auctioned off to members of the merchant caste who wish to sell wares in the Diamond Quarter. Lord Harrowmont has also opened up the provings for young warriors to test their mettle before tomorrow's battle. Rumor has it that Harrowmont hopes you'll be swept off your feet if a well-placed young nobleman wins the provings in your honor. Then shall we go watch nobles flail at each other? With you as always, my lady. The day is ours until the feast. My lady? Yes, I yearn to face the Darkspawn and prove my worth as your second. May the stones support us, and the ancestors look down with pride. Not much that you don't already know. My father's father was a great hero of the Deep Roads excursions and raised the family to the top of the warrior caste. He was even nominated to join the assembly and found a noble house, but the honor was in the nomination. He wasn't afforded a single vote. My father served your father for many years, and now I serve you. As you will.
Lord Bhelen? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were Prince Bhelen coming down the hall. Forgive me.
It seems she's one of your brother Bhelen's newest, companions. Prince Bhelen is attending the feast being held in Lady Iduken's honor.
Yes, of course. It was presumptuous of me to think that he would return to... I am sorry. I will show myself out. With your leave, my lady.
Go.
Thank you. I will go now.
You sure you want to go to the feast now? I doubt we can escape to see the provings once we're inside. I can't wait to see who's fighting today.
Let's get started.
Your father has allowed the merchants to show their wares in the Diamond Quarter during these celebrations.
I'm sure we can work this out reasonably.
The finest in home decorations!
My lord, these are surface.
Ah, my friend.
Dyed with the finest saffron and indigo and embroidered by skilled elven tradesmen. My Lady Iduken, you honor me by visiting my humble booth. May I show you my wares?
Because he has forgotten his place.
1,000 pardons. Please, forgive me, Your Highness.
This looks to be mostly fabrics from the human lands. These merchants form alliances with those who have abandoned our ways to live on the surface. If it can't be used to polish my shield, what good is it?
Who hasn't? Atrastvala, big sister. How surprising to run into you out among the common folk.
Especially since duty requires that you attend our King Father at the feast today. Have you so little respect for him to disregard his wishes on a day set aside for you?
Lord Harrowmont told me we wouldn't be needed for hours at least.
Silence! If I want the opinion of my siblings second, I will ask for it.
Yes, Your Highness.
I speak to lower houses and castes as they should be spoken to. Now do as I say. Your lack of a sense of duty to your house is obvious. I can't imagine why you're receiving a commission. I expect after tomorrow I'll spend much time apologizing to the heads of the noble houses for the deaths of their children under your incompetent command.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it, Trian?
As heir to the throne, it is my duty to impart wisdom and judgment upon those who need it. Now then, you, get to the feast. I'd advise you to watch that tongue, dear sibling. Father will not live forever. Come, Bhelen.
That was fun. Nothing like being talked down to by the next king. Perhaps this isn't the best place for that sort of talk, shall we?
She's still out there?
Impossible.
What about that one?
I doubt he's up to the task. I'm not going.
Greetings, my lady. May I say you look striking today. Is this your paramour? He wears both his vambraces, unmarried and eligible.
I'm flattered, ladies, but I'm not a noble. I'm a knight of the warrior caste.
Warrior caste isn't bad.
Tally, we didn't pay gold for these permits to take warrior caste.
I guess you're right. Sorry, sir.
They're noble hunters, my lady. Because a man takes his caste from his father, they hope to bear a noble lord's son. If a noble hunter succeeds, she is raised up to join the house as a concubine to care for her son. It brings new swords to a house, so many nobles look favorably on such women.
Then perhaps you'd tell your brothers to come say hello?
Tally, mind your manners. My lady is kind and generous beyond her duty.
My lady, are you heading to the proving arena? We have been charged with the task of escorting you to the proving grounds.
I clean forgot about that. Forgive me, I should have informed you sooner. The king decided you were not to travel through the commons unguarded. I did mention the merchants that won permits to show their goods in the Diamond Quarter. There were only so many permits auctioned off, and quite a few were turned away. Your father fears you will be harassed on the way to the proving.
Will we be leaving then? We are at your command.
Your Highness, it is an honor to have you here. Have you come to watch these brave warriors do battle in your honor? Your presence encourages the fighters to greater feats. I'll call the first fighters in a moment. I hope you're enjoying the proving so far.
My lady? Not much that you don't already know. My father's father was a great hero of the Deep Roads excursions and raised the family to the top of the warrior caste. He was even nominated to join the assembly and found a noble house, but the honor was in the nomination. He wasn't afforded a single vote. My father served your father for many years, and now I serve you. As you will.
Greetings, Lady Iduken. Are you enjoying the proving so far? Of course. I am gifted, but I am not the equal of the Iduken House trainer.
This is the lead trainer of the provings, my lady. He teaches nobles from lower houses without their own trainers, and the best young men from the warrior caste. No. My father thought it was a waste to study dual-style combat, as I was pledged to be your second.
However, Sigorum has helped teach many classes on small-scale tactics, especially shield work. Did the two of you hear about the scandal here last week?
We've been preparing for tomorrow's battle, and have had little time for gossip.
The Grey Wardens are in Orzammar, searching for recruits, so the warrior caste arranged a proving. The goal was for the Grey Wardens to recruit the winner, bringing him honor and a chance for glory. Well, yes and no. It was like nothing I've ever seen. Sir Everd, fresh from fighting Darkspawn, got dead drunk before the proving. Then some casteless bruiser took Sir Everd's armor, wore it, and won the proving. They took the imposter to jail. I assume to be thrown into the Deep Roads as meat for the Darkspawn. The warrior caste is in an uproar. An incident like this raises many questions. Well, how the brand got in here to begin with.
Or how a casteless learned to fight like that. They aren't even allowed to possess weapons.
I've heard they fight in the slums with the old cast-offs. I'm almost curious to see.
I doubt King Endrin would approve of that.
Ha! I suppose not. All right, I have to go check on the fighters. It was an honor to speak with you, Your Highness. Of course, please excuse me.
My lady? Your wish is our command.
Please, Master Volney. My work is accredited by the Shaper.
These books are lies written by the enemies of House Volney.
I write only what I find in the ancient records. Lady Iduken, you can vouch for my work, can't you? Your father loved my History of Iduken, Paragon King, Peacemaker.
The king, as well as several other lords, are quite fond of his work. He writes of the ancient paragons.
This worm has written a book that slanders my house. It doesn't matter, it's all lies.
My work tells the stories of all those raised to paragons in the last 500 years. When the Assembly names a paragon, that man or woman is then, by definition, everything one can aspire to be in the world. They form their own noble houses and are revered as living ancestors. But paragons start off as men.
Volney was more than a man.
Volney became a paragon by the narrowest margin in history. One vote. A vote mired in rumors of intimidation, intrigue, and outright bribery. The records of that vote are kept in the Shaperate and are a matter of fact. Not liking history doesn't make it any less true.
Exactly. Just because it happened doesn't mean it's the truth, old man. Your Highness, allow me to kill this worm for his disrespect.
You would have me write lies? Just to appease some idea about honor? Well, perhaps I could emphasize Volney's perseverance over great odds.
Would that satisfy you, Lord Volney?
He should be killed, but I bow to House Iduken's fabled mercy.
On it.
Look, the Grey Wardens are here. The raid tomorrow must be more than a standard mission. The Wardens only go where the Darkspawn are the greatest threat.
My Lady Iduken, might I bother you for a moment?
Your Highness, what a surprise. I apologize if we are in your way.
My lady.
Many thanks for your willingness to hear me out, my lady. I wish to speak to you of a matter most urgent. Of course, I shall await your pleasure. You've returned. Might you have time to talk now? First, let me congratulate you on your commission. 2 of King Endrin's children now commissioned war leaders. It does great honor to your house. Of course, my lady. There is a vote coming before the Assembly next week. And a word from you could go a long way towards helping our cause. The vote concerns the status of the so-called surface caste. Lost to the stone, air-touched, and so forth. Centuries ago, narrow-minded men declared that any dwarf who left to live on the surface forfeited his caste. and his house if noble. That he was, in essence, no longer a dwarf. I seek only to remedy an injustice, to retie the bonds of anyone who can trace himself to one of the noble houses wherever he may live. Please, agree to speak for this noble cause. I keep my ears to the stone, my lady. I hear many things, some of which could be a great help during your mission tomorrow. A little forewarning to help your forearming, if you know what I mean. When your father presents you to the noble houses, I will ask for your opinion on the matter. You have merely to say that you feel our surface brothers should be returned their noble rights. What could be more simple?
Greetings, my Lady Iduken. It is an honor to meet you at last. Not as such, but your father never misses a chance to boast of your skill and bravery. He says you may be the most skilled warrior in all of House Iduken. Yes, he mentioned your humble nature as well. We need more Grey Wardens like you, and quickly. Even as the Darkspawn weaken here in Ozamor, they are stirring on the surface. A blight has begun. Soon the fight must go beyond the deep roads, lest the Darkspawn threaten all the world. No one is safe from a blight. If the Darkspawn overrun the surface lands, they will return in even greater numbers. Ozamor would perish along with the rest. None of our lands is truly self-sufficient. Alas, I do not think he would take kindly to that suggestion. As the child of the king and heir after Lord Trion, your place is here. I wish you luck in the deep roads tomorrow. Show the Darkspawn the might of your people.
You're a fool. Your mother would melt the stone if she knew what you just did. Do not mock me, girl. Lord Dace is playing you false. Go ahead, be his puppet. Your first command will be marked by every major house turning their back on you. Last spring, a guild from the Merchant caste invested heavily in an expedition with a guild from the surface. Lord Dace backed the Merchant Guild, pouring a great deal of money into the venture. The expedition was a disaster. Clever child. Lord Dace lost a great deal of money and prestige. The Surface Guild has no way to repay the investment, but it does have several leading members who are descended from noble houses. House Helmi, Bimo, Iduken.
She's saying that if the air-touched dwarves have their connections to their houses restored, you'll end up footing the bill for Lord Dace's disaster.
Oh, if I were 20 years younger, I'd bed you just to get some of that quick wit in my house. Your house and mine would be forced to pay the Surfacer's kin debts. It would be a great victory for Lord Dace. Just so, my clever friend. Smile and nod, and when he asks his question, tell him that the so-called Surface Caste are right where they belong. That should take Lord Dace down a peg or two. Good. Your house's reputation hangs in the balance.
You return. Were my instructions unclear? And what did she have to say? I see. Some preposterous story, I'm sure. I suppose it could. I mean, Well, it's the spirit of the law that's important, right? Our poor, disenfranchised service brothers. Well played, Your Highness. Welcome to Assembly politics. Now, if you'll excuse me... You haven't made a friend here today.
Your father is very proud of you. Congratulations.
It isn't our newest commander. Congratulations.
My king, please reconsider. The trade contracts alone could bring great prosperity to our houses.
Will we really turn our back on our brothers and a potential fortune in cheap labor because of a political technicality?
Denial of the traditions of our people does not qualify as a political technicality. There is more to life than monetary gains, my lords Bimo and Mino. The Assembly of Kal Sharok will respect the rule of Orzammar, or they will rot and die alone, surrounded by enemies.
Yes, my king.
But look, we have company to spare us further wrangling. Atrast Vala, my sweet daughter. How fine you look in your grandmother's armor. Are you ready to be presented to the heads of the noble houses? These rituals have their place. It behooves you to get to know the nobles and let them know you. Lords, ladies, grant me a moment of your time. We are here today so I may present to you my second eldest child, blessed by the stone and born of the blood that ran in the veins of the Paragon Idukan. Who would pose a question to the prospective commander? Who seeks to know the prospect better? No? Very well then. The ritual is complete. I give you Orzammar's next commander. Tomorrow, our newest commander will lead part of a mission to strike a great blow to the Darkspawn. Not only does this recover access to some of our most important mines, but it also allows our honored guest Duncan, head of Ferelden's Grey Wardens, to strike far into the deep roads.
Thank you, King Endrin. While the Darkspawn seem to withdraw, it is only because they are massing on the surface. This could mean a blight, and my men and I will discover the truth.
We are honored to have you with us, my friend. Now, feast, drink, and celebrate, for the morning brings battle! As for you, my new commander, find your brother Trian and send him to me. He may be watching the provings, or getting some rest in his rooms. Don't question everything. Just go for the ancestors' sake.
Good day, Lady Iduka. No sign of trouble. I am proud to serve. I am at your service.
What did you think of the Grey Warden? I suppose the life of a Grey Warden doesn't offer many opportunities for social graces. Was there something else? As you will.
So you're a commander now, in name at least. Shouldn't you be attending our King Father?
Interesting. I would have been at the feast, but Trian had need of me.
The world does not stop and start with your meager achievements. Not even tonight. Now, do you have some purpose in bothering us? Of course he does. We must discuss strategy before tomorrow's battle. Bhelen, stay here and stroke the new commander's conceit if you like. But then get to bed.
All day I've put up with that. He can really grate on the nerves. Well, time is something you may not have much of left. Trian has begun to move against you. I never thought his much-proclaimed honor would allow him to actually act on his jealousy. Big sister, Trian is going to try to kill you. I overheard him giving orders to some of his men, and I was shocked. Then it began to make sense. Trian's decided you're a threat to his taking the throne. Maybe he's right. Trian's the named prince, but only the Assembly can proclaim a king. It would be unusual for the Assembly to ignore the king's choice, but it does happen.
The founder of House Bhemo became a paragon and king in one move from the Assembly, and he was a commoner.
That was an extraordinary case, but at least a half-dozen times the Assembly named a lesser family member, or even someone from another house, as king. Twice, it was a woman. If you win glory against the Darkspawn tomorrow, it will only strengthen the case for you as the next heir. Trian Fear's father will replace him on the spot. If not, the Assembly will surely turn against him when father dies. You know his pride will never allow him to step aside. It seems Trian has shown that brothers can't always be trusted. I am next in line. If Trian succeeds in his plot against you, how long do you think I'll live?
Permission to speak freely? Trian would make a terrible king, but no one wants to say it. He has just enough backing in the Assembly to make it ugly when your father dies, but not enough to become king. Killing him now makes your house stronger and saves a great deal of bloodshed later.
Very well. I'll keep my eyes open. I don't want to lose my dearest sister. One of us has to. I'm taking your place as father's second, so I'll be at hand tomorrow. For now, try to get some sleep.
May the Paragon smile down on you.
Trian and his men will clear the way for the Grey Wardens to descend into the easternmost caverns. Those caverns are still infested by the worst of the Darkspawn. We cannot risk our own troops in there.
Understood, Lord Haramond. We should be able to sense the Darkspawn and avoid them once the way is open. May the Paragons favor you, and the stone catch you if you fall.
Come then! Glory awaits!
Bhelen, you and your men will second the king, clearing the main road.
Don't you think it looks a little cowardly to allow these humans to take our place where the fighting is thickest?
Are you questioning the battle plan?
Of course not. I'm sure your caution is for the glory of us all.
Enough, Bhelen. Take your men and make ready. Haramond and I need to have words with your sibling.
Good luck, my sister.
Your father has a special mission for you.
In the eastern deep roads, there is a secret door carved into the stone.
The door leads to a thaig, abandoned long ago by your ancestors. The Darkspawn have made it impossible to reach.
My father believed that the shield of the paragon Iduken remains in that thaig, under the stones of the central room. Reclaim the shield, and glory will be yours. My father's writings speak only of the shield. There may be countless other treasures, but only the shield matters.
We've sent 2 scouts ahead to make sure the tunnels are cleared. But be careful. One of the scouts will meet you at the first crossroads you come to. The second will be further in. When you get to the door, use your signet ring to open it. Questions? The crossroads where you meet the first scout will be the rendezvous point. There you can present the shield to the lords and demonstrate the strength of Iduken.
May the ancestors watch over you, my child.
As you wish. On it.
Oh, you're going to be sorry.
Here we go! Let's get started.
Iduken is victorious!
See why?
You made it, Commander. Did you run afoul of any Darkspawn? Still, that was more than we expected. Once I finished scouting the tunnels, I hid here to avoid the Darkspawn. Most tunnels are dead ends. The one we want is swarming with those fiends. It's going to be a fight. As you say, onward then.
As you wish. This should be easy enough. As you wish.
I'm going to make this quick. Good hit! And right behind you!
We should hurry.
We should keep moving.
You're here. I thought the Darkspawn had got you for sure. And I'll make sure I'm behind you if we're swarmed. We want the tunnel ahead, but there are Darkspawn tracks all over it. Be careful. I haven't ventured more than 100 yards ahead for fear of alerting other Darkspawn. I'll follow your lead, Commander.
This one's mine! Ancestors preserve me! Don't be praised!
Looks like someone beat us to the door.
This Darkspawn body is still fresh. Whoever opened the door is most likely still in there.
It could have been stolen, recently or generations back.
Or it could be an ambitious cousin out for his own glory.
Understood. Let's move, men.
So glad you could finally join us. We feared you'd gotten eaten by Darkspawn. Turns out the shield isn't quite as easy to retrieve as I was led to believe. I wager you know where it is, though. So maybe you tell me where it is, and I don't let my boys have to go at you before I kill you. I'm your better, that's who. And as to how I got in, that's a question you'll have to ask the stone after I butcher you. Now where's the shield? Bit for bite, huh? Both of us banking on killing the other and losing nothing by the telling? Very well. One of Prince Trian's men brought me this ring. It opened the door just fine. Now where is the sodding shield? Oh, she's a funny one. Just what I needed. Now kill these idiots.
I'll show you some pain.
Right.
Ha! You're getting sloppy.
This should be easy enough.
It's either you or me, and it isn't going to be me.
I got your back!
Is that really Trian's signet ring? It would have been a major victory to get the shield first, but he showed his hand and failed. The first way we can hurt him is to find that shield ourselves. You have your orders, boys.
You're no match for me.
We're doing well. As you say.
This is the room. How do we get the shield? You two, see if you can spot anything. It seems some of these tiles are different from the others.
This should be easy enough.
That's it. We've got it.
Doesn't look like much.
The skill of our crafters has come far since then. But still, the Shield of Iduken.
I can feel it. It's inspirational.
If you say so. It's just a shield. Back in the direction we came from, at the crossroads.
To the crossroads.
Did you hear
Cursed
that?
creatures.
Could be more of those mercenaries. Or darkspawn
Let's get started. Right. Let's get started. This should be easy enough.
You had it coming.
Let's get started.
Never fall!
If Trian were really scheming against us, this would be the perfect place for an ambush. We've got the shield, and we're all alone out here.
What's that you're muttering about? Fantastic. As if the Darkspawn weren't enough to worry about.
Just keep your eyes open. By the stone, it's Trian!
It must have been a Darkspawn attack.
This doesn't look like Darkspawn. No bites, no scratches, no mutilation.
Someone's coming.
Hurry, Father, before it's too...
By all the ancestors, what has happened here?
It seems we weren't fast enough. Bhelen was right.
My daughter, tell me this isn't what it looks like.
Just long enough to slay Trian.
My lady is innocent.
Sir Gorham, your loyalty makes you a useless witness. It falls to others to tell the story. You, Scout, what happened here?
Trian and his men were here early. It seems they'd done battle with the Darkspawn. Lady Iduken came up to them, all friendly-like, but when we got close, she ordered us to attack.
Then we shall discover the truth.
Franklin Ivo, you are a good and noble man. Did the scout speak the truth?
He did, my lord. It was terrible. Prince Trian didn't stand a chance. Afterward, my lady stripped his signet ring.
You treacherous bastard! Silence, Gorham!
Do you have anything else to say, my daughter?
The Assembly will see through you. Everyone knows I was Trian's faithful second.
Bind her. She will be judged before the Assembly. To Orzammar.
You've got 10 minutes, sir. Orders and all. You understand?
Of course. Leave us alone, will you please?
Yes, sir.
My lady. I would have come sooner had they allowed it. How are you? I could be better. I have bad news, though. The Assembly isn't going to call for you. Bhelen has taken Trian's place in the Assembly. He introduced a motion to condemn you immediately, and it easily passed. He had fully half the Assembly ready to vote on something completely against tradition and justice. He must have been making deals and alliances for months, if not years. I'm afraid so. Some of the lords, especially Harrowmont, are suspicious of Bhelen's instant rise to power. They are rallying, but far too slowly. The Assembly has already sentenced both of us. My knighthood will be stripped, my name torn from my family records. But I will be allowed to attempt some sort of life on the surface. Lord Harrowmont moved for a similar exile for you, but Bhelen's supporters overwhelmed him. You are to be sealed in the deep roads to fight Darkspawn until you are overwhelmed and killed. Lord Harrowmont says the king is taken ill. He couldn't bear losing 2 of his children at once. Lord Harrowmont gave me access to see you so I could tell you this. Duncan and the Grey Wardens are still in the deep roads, in tunnels connected to those you are to be left in. If you survive long enough to find the Grey Wardens, you may be able to escape with Duncan. The Grey Wardens aren't all humans. Remember the stories of the Dwarven Wardens who lifted the 100-day siege of Orzammar. If you can find them, I'm sure you can join them and escape the deep roads. I begged to go with you and fight at your side, but Bhelen's pet nobles wouldn't hear of it. I'm going to try to go to Denerim, the human capital. If you make it out, find me. I will always be your man, my Lady Iduken.
They are ready for you now. Here is the prisoner, Lord Harrowmont.
Having been found guilty of fratricide by the Assembly of Orzammar, you are hereby sentenced to exile and death. Your name is from this point forward stripped from the records. You are no longer a person, nor a memory. You are to be cast into the deep roads with only sword and shield. Dare to redeem your life by fighting the enemies of Orzammar until your death. Do you have anything to say before the sentence is carried out? I understand your anger. You should have been allowed to defend yourself. Had I the power to stop this, I would have. Look me in the eye and tell me you didn't do this. For your father's sake. I believe you. That means Bhelen planned this from the start. Believe me, I will spend the rest of my days making sure Bhelen does not profit by his deeds. Your father asked me to give these to you. This sword and shield are of fine dwarven make. Strike a blow at our enemies. I will. Open the doors and let the condemned walk through. May the stone accept you when you fall.
This should be easy enough.
Fear is your weakness. Desperation is an ugly perfume.
On it. This should be easy enough.
Excellent!
On it. Let's get started.
Time for some fun!
By the Maker, it's a dwarf.
Lady Iduken, what are you doing here alone? Where are your troops? Ah, you have been made to walk the deep roads, then.
You mean you were exiled? What happened?
I do not think matters of dwarven honor are any business of ours. You need not answer, friend. Lord Trian? I see. The brutal intrigue of the Dwarven court continues, then. Your father intimated as much. There is no reason for you to walk these deep roads and die for something you did not do. You've already proven yourself both resourceful and skilled, and I would expect nothing less from an Iduken. I've been searching for those with your level of ability. Your exploits in the Deep Road set you apart. As leader of the Grey Wardens in Ferelden, I would like to formally invite you to join our order. Then welcome. We leave immediately for Ostagar to join with the human forces facing the Darkspawn hordes led by King Cailan. Stay close. There are still Darkspawn around every corner. We will be traveling south through the hinterlands to the ruin of Ostagar, on the edges of the Korcari Wilds. The Tevinter Imperium built Ostagar long ago to prevent the Wilders from invading the northern lowlands. It's fitting we make our stand here, even if we face a different foe within that forest. The King's forces have clashed with the Darkspawn several times, but here is where the bulk of the Horde will show itself. There are only a few Grey Wardens within Ferelden at the moment, but all of us are here. This blight must be stopped, here and now. If it spreads to the north, Ferelden will fall.
Ho there, Duncan.
King Cailan. I didn't expect a
royal welcome? I was beginning to worry you'd miss all the fun.
Not if I could help it, Your Majesty.
Then I'll have the mighty Duncan at my side in battle after all. Glorious. The other wardens told me you'd found a promising recruit. I take it this is she?
Allow me to introduce you, Your Majesty.
There's no need to be so formal, Duncan. We'll be shedding blood together after all. Ho there, friend. Might I know your name? Pleased to meet you. The Grey Wardens are desperate to bolster their numbers, and I, for one, am glad to help them. It's good to see one of the honorable stout folk outside Ordomar. Sounds like there's a story behind that. You must regale me with it sometime. I do. I'll make sure to have the finest dwarven brew brought up from the palace cellars. After we've dealt with the blight, of course. I've been to Orzammar. King Endrin invited my father to a grand proving long ago. How does Endrin fare these days? Well... it seems your story may be even more interesting than I suspected. Allow me to be the first to welcome you to Ostagar. The Wardens will benefit greatly with you in their ranks. I'm sorry to cut this short, but I should return to my tent. Loghain waits eagerly to bore me with his strategies.
Your uncle sends his greetings and reminds you that Redcliffe forces could be here in less than a week.
Ha! Eamon just wants in on the glory. We've won 3 battles against these monsters, and tomorrow should be no different. I'm not even sure this is a true blight. There are plenty of Darkspawn on the field, but alas, we've seen no sign of an archdemon.
Disappointed, Your Majesty?
I'd hoped for a war like in the tales. A king riding with the fabled Grey Wardens against a tainted god. But I suppose this will have to do. I must go before Loghain sends out a search party. Farewell, Grey Wardens.